Let's dive right in. Welcome to This Explainer, where I'm inviting you directly into my cinematic detective workspace to break down the absolute most mind-bending mysteries of the Avengers Doomsday lore. We are looking at a cinematic event that is, without a doubt, setting entirely new benchmarks for the sheer scale of storytelling. I am absolutely fascinated by the hidden narrative layers sitting right in front of our eyes. I've spent hours analyzing every single frame, every pixel of the promotional material, and let me tell you, there are some monumental, lore-shattering details that completely change how we need to view this upcoming multiversal war. So let's not waste a single second of our time. Let's methodically break down exactly what is happening with Dr. Doom, Steve Rogers, and the God of Stories himself.
To start things off, I want you to picture this sequence. We see Thor launch an attack that looks incredibly similar to his desperate, earth-shattering strike in Infinity War. But here's the catch. Dr. Doom effortlessly blocks it. And he blocks it with just 2 fingers. Now, the sheer impossibility of that act is what we really need to focus on right now. We have to remember that Stormbreaker is not just some ordinary hammer, right? It is arguably the absolute strongest weapon in Asgardian history. It is a true, undeniable, All-Father-level weapon, forged from Uru metal. Let's put that into perspective. Even Thanos, wielding the combined unstoppable power of all 6 Infinity Stones, literally could not halt Stormbreaker's momentum, yet Doom just stops it dead in its tracks like it's absolutely nothing.
When I first analyzed this, it instantly triggered a very specific visual memory for me. This is a feat incredibly reminiscent of Superman casually stopping Steppenwolf's axe. It's that exact same flex of absolute god-tier superiority. But we really need to understand a fundamental truth about Victor Von Doom here. This level of raw physical invulnerability points to a very specific, terrifying trait in his arsenal. He isn't inherently born with Kryptonian invulnerability, right? He is fundamentally a human man wearing a suit of armor. So how exactly is he achieving this impossible physical feat? Well, to answer that, I need to explain the dark, underlying mechanics of how Doom operates.
I had to emphasize that Doom's genius intellect, which, by the way, easily rivals the greatest minds in the cosmos like Reed Richards and Tony Stark, is matched only by his unparalleled history of successfully stealing cosmic abilities. Yes, he wields mystical abilities inherited from his mother's side, sure, but his ultimate, truly terrifying trump card is power absorption. If we look deep into his history, he has stolen the power cosmic from the Silver Surfer. He has literally siphoned omnipotent, god-level powers directly from the Beyonder. He's manipulated the Scarlet Witch to steal her life force and completely alter reality itself, and he's even successfully harnessed fragments of the Phoenix Force. So, the absolute crucial point is this. Doom has undoubtedly stolen someone's immense power to be able to catch Stormbreaker. The chilling question we have to ask is, whose power did he take?
Let's methodically unpack the 4 most likely candidates for whose power Doom has stolen to achieve this godlike durability against the God of Thunder. First up, there's Love, Thor's daughter. She was resurrected by eternity and carries a fragment of its cosmic essence. She is literally the temporal personification of the universe itself. Second, we have baby Franklin Richards, an Omega-level mutant with reality-warping power rivaling Galactus, whom we know Doom has a deeply complex history with. Third is Loki. Having taken over the temporal loom, Loki possesses time-slipping and absolute multiversal control, making him a prime high-value target for a multiversal conqueror. And finally, the 4th candidate, a character who boasts the exact, sheer physical invulnerability required for this unbelievable feat.
If I had to place my bet right now, absorbing Sentry's powers perfectly explains how Doom could casually catch Stormbreaker with just 2 fingers. Bob Reynolds, the Sentry, possesses the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. He is, without question, the ultimate physical powerhouse of the Marvel Universe. If Dr. Doom managed to siphon even a fraction of Sentry's raw, unadulterated strength, humiliating Thor in physical combat wouldn't just be possible, it would be absolute child's play. It completely turns an otherwise impossible cinematic feat into a terrifying, highly logical outcome of Doom's mastery over power stealing.
Section 1. The Smiling Steve Rogers.
Let's move along to our next piece of evidence. And honestly, this is the one that sends a profound chill down my spine every time I look at it. When we see Steve step back into the frame, something just feels completely fundamentally off. Just look at this expression. I find it incredibly suspicious that he's smiling as casually as if Peggy just made his favorite dinner, all while Thor looks utterly confused and actually throws Mjolnir just to test him. Think about the Steve Rogers we know. Whenever he reunites with his comrades after a long, grueling absence, there is deep emotion. There are often tears, a heavy sense of duty, a massive weight of history on his shoulders. But this Steve, he just smirks. It's a chilling, completely out-of-place smile that gives off a totally different, almost sinister vibe.
To understand why he might be able to casually catch Mjolnir under completely different rules, I have to explain the dark, twisted lore of Hydra Supreme Steve Rogers from Earth 61311. This is a terrifying alternate reality created by a sentient cosmic cube named Kobik. In this fractured, altered timeline, Steve wasn't a scrawny kid from Brooklyn fighting bullies. He was actually taken and raised from childhood by Hydra. He was meticulously conditioned to believe in their cause, eventually replacing the true Captain America to lead a massive, brutal Hydra conquest. The sheer psychological horror here is that this version of Steve possesses all the incredible tactical genius and flawless leadership of Captain America, but absolutely none of his morality. This completely shattered moral compass perfectly explains that cold, deeply confident smile.
But even if we assume for a moment that this is our original Steve, the one who went back in time to live out his days with Peggy, we still have to ask a massive, terrifying question. If this is the original Steve, why risk completely destabilizing the multiverse by bringing two Captain Americas into one timeline? We already have Old Man Steve in this universe, right? As I think back to the constant dire warnings we've heard about multiverse incursions, bringing this specific trinity of Thor, Tony, and Steve together from across timelines feels like a massive, extraordinarily dangerous anomaly. It is a highly calculated risk, and somebody is playing a very, very dangerous game with the fragile fabric of reality.
Section 2. Tragic Secrets of the Mural.
Now, I want you to look closely with me at this breathtaking, almost divine mural from Dr. Doom's poster. This isn't just standard promotional art. This is a highly detailed, deeply symbolic piece of storytelling, and I am absolutely obsessed with decoding it. Right in the center of this massive composition, we see a feminine figure holding a child. The immediate thought for a lot of comic fans is that this is Cynthia Von Doom, Victor's mother. She was a powerful witch who was enslaved by the demon Mephisto, making the child a young Victor. While that is a huge foundational part of Doom's comic origin, I believe we are actually looking at something much, much more emotionally devastating. I believe we are looking at a doomed alternate universe featuring Doom's wife and son.
To fully grasp the gravity of this, we must understand the concept of an incursion. An incursion is the catastrophic collision of two universes, resulting in the absolute, undeniable destruction of one or both realities. I believe this entire mural is actually a divine tapestry of Doom's scattered memories from an incursion he desperately tried and completely failed to stop. This beautiful artwork is his magnificent, heartbreaking monument to his greatest failure.
Let me break down the visual evidence here for you. Notice the planet depicted in the background of the mural. If you look closely at the upper left of that sphere, there aren't one, but 3 moons. This instantly tells us this is not our Earth. It is a vastly different alternate reality. The top half of the mural is framed with heavenly, golden lighting and cherubs, elevating his lost family to a divine, almost angelic status. But notice how that beautiful, golden lighting abruptly ends at the planetary sphere. It leaves a robed, prophetic representation of Doom to walk entirely alone through the pitch-black darkness below.
And I think this brilliantly illustrates the crushing psychological weight of the character. Just look at his posture in relation to the planet. I see a man who is ready to carry this destroyed world on his shoulders, like Atlas, descending slowly into the dark underworld of his own profound failure. He deeply believes his wife and child deserve the kingdom of heaven, while he vehemently condemns himself to hell. He is entirely willing to walk through absolute darkness to carry the immense burden of the world he simply couldn't save.
Section 3. The Man Behind the Mask.
This brings me to what I consider the most heartbreaking and Shakespearean detail in this entire cinematic composition. It's a detail so small, yet it completely redefines everything we know about this iteration of the character. Look right at Doom's right hand. He is holding his iconic metal mask. That metal mask serves as a strict narrative border between man and monster. Usually the mask represents his supreme ego, his dangerous perfectionism, and his absolute unyielding detachment from humanity. But right here, in front of this sacred shrine, he has taken it off to face his family's memory. He simply cannot bring himself to stand before the memory of his loving wife and child while wearing the face of a god-complex monster.
So, we are not actually looking at Dr. Doom right now. I firmly believe we are looking at a grieving, utterly shattered Victor standing in the desolate halls of his Latvian castle. He is exposing his ruined face to his family in deep, agonizing shame. It's almost a silent confession. He's saying, "I am what I am today because I failed to save you. I deserve this ruined face because I wasn't strong enough." He is entirely, painfully vulnerable in this single, frozen moment of immense tragedy.
I really want you to realize the sheer gravity of this scene. This is a final, definitive farewell to his past. The exact moment he puts that faceplate back on, Victor dies. The grieving husband and father is permanently extinguished, and the unyielding force of nature known as Dr. Doom, the multiversal conqueror who genuinely believes only he has the sheer will to save what's left of creation, is truly born.
Section 4. Where is Loki now?
But while Doom rises to violently reshape reality, I have one massive, lingering question regarding the entity who is currently supposed to be holding reality together, the God of Stories. We see a shot of Loki standing in his TVA outfit inside a location that looks incredibly similar to Steve Rogers' house. The fundamental, glaring question here is, why is he here instead of sitting on his multiversal throne at the end of time? Considering the profound, gut-wrenching heartbreak in Loki's eyes when he painstakingly gathered the dying timelines and sacrificed his own freedom to save his friends, I simply do not believe he would ever abandon his eternal post to casually project himself for a visit. The multiversal stakes are just far too high for a simple social call.
Let me lay out the two prevailing scenarios I've meticulously mapped out for this. Scenario 1. This is a flashback. Before taking his eternal throne, Loki used his mastery of time-slipping to secretly visit anchor beings across the multiverse, heroes like Wolverine, or in this case, Steve Rogers, to quietly, desperately prepare them for the inevitable war to come. Scenario 2, which is far more terrifying and carries massive implications for the fabric of the Marvel Universe, Doom has already made his move. He has violently breached the end of time and ruthlessly dethroned Loki, seizing the absolute branches of the multiverse to forge his ultimate dictatorial domain, Battleworld.
I lean heavily towards the second theory. I truly believe Doom has already struck the very heart of the multiverse, and Loki barely escaped total annihilation. Now violently stripped of his throne, Loki is using his time-slipping powers to frantically sprint across dying realities. He is desperately trying to assemble a multiversal resistance capable of undoing Doom's absolute, terrifying conquest. He has become the ultimate wildcard in Doom's perfect, unyielding new order. And that is the massive, multiversal conflict we are barreling towards. As Dr. Doom meticulously builds his new reality on the ashes of his unimaginable grief, fueled by stolen godlike powers, will the God of Stories be able to assemble a force strong enough to save the multiverse? I leave you with this thought as we wrap up this explainer and prepare for the ultimate cinematic collision. When the dust finally settles on Battleworld, whose story will truly survive the secret wars?